Hello and welcome to the new episode of We Talk Talent Series Season 5, the show where we bring you insightful conversations with top HR leaders shaping the future of talent management. And today we are joined by Subhasis Mishra, Head Talent Acquisition, Asia Pacific, Amazon Entertainment. Subhasis, welcome, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks so much, Anmol. Thank you for having me and looking forward to our discussion.
So before we dive into the discussion, I would like to briefly introduce today's speaker to our viewers. Subhasis is a global talent leader with 24 years of experience in retail, technology, media, and entertainment businesses across North America in Fortune 100 companies. He has a wide breadth of experience attracting, developing, and engaging diverse workforce and building growing dynamic organizations. So starting with my first question, Subhasis, in the context of the rapidly changing professional landscape and the ongoing evolution of work dynamics, how do you envision the significance of soft skills evolving in the future?
Yeah, it's a great question. And again, thanks for having me. Looking forward to our discussion.
Yeah.
Me having done both HR and in talent acquisition, right? I see it from both perspectives. And we all are experiencing an acceleration of technology in our lives, just both as human beings, people, as well as professionals, right?
Yeah.
So it's needless to say that a lot of the work that used to give us a lot of credit in the past is no longer going to give us the credit, right? So skills are getting more and more narrow in terms of the value that human beings can bring, as opposed to the past, where even if you're good in math, like, that would give you an edge over somebody else, but that's no longer an edge for you. So if that's no longer an edge, right, math is no longer an edge, then what is an edge? And that's where soft skills will enter, which is, and believe it or not, it's not just for, us human resources professionals, even if you're in technology, right, your ability to have empathy, which is a soft skill, as a tech creator, is going to give you a competitive advantage because you are able to see what experience your user can get delight from. And if you're able to design a product or a service or an experience empathizing with that end user, then you'll be a better technologist than someone who is not able to do that. So to me, that is a simple example of why soft skills are going to get more and more important. And soft skills used to be termed as soft skills back in the 80s or whatever it came up. They're actually not. They can be a bit misleading, right? Soft skills can make you feel like they're kind of important. They're not so important. And to me, those are not soft skills from that standpoint. We could call it human skills, right? Which differentiate us from the machine. And I think that's going to increasingly be more and more required in the future workforce. I hope that helps.
Absolutely. So, Subhasis, as we delve into discussions on organizational strategies and their adaptation to the evolving employment landscape, I'm particularly interested in gaining insights into your employer branding strategy. Could you elaborate how your approach to employer branding has evolved over the past few years?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been an evolving, as you rightly use the word evolving, right? Employer branding is a marketing work, right? It's not, historically, it did not start with recruiting folks. But as we talked about the evolution of technology, but at the same time, we also looked at what is different in working in a company A versus company B. If for most part, your experience is the same, like everyone's got a great office, right? Everyone's got, people can compensate you fairly competitively. So if some of those aspects are becoming more and more common or fairly competitive, why should I work in company A than company B? And that's where I think employer branding has been evolving, which is really getting to the heart of what it means to work in Amazon. In our case,
Mhm.
you could say, yeah, I love Prime Video. But if I ask you, hey, does that mean that you know how it is to work at Prime Video?
Mhm.
Chances are you'll say no.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm hoping you say yes, but I can't assume that you'll say yes. Because one
Absolutely.
thing to know a product or a brand as a consumer, but it's another thing to know about what it is to work there. And that's where we've been sort of trying to push ourselves to share those stories
Mhm.
of what is it to work inside. Just remove the curtain and just show a sneak peek of the workplace. And even within that, there is a in today's age, right? You can't hide anything from your customers.
Definitely.
Back in the day, you only saw advertising on TV and you say, wow, I love that product because I saw a cool ad. Now you
Mhm.
won't buy a product just because you saw an ad, right?
Yeah.
You will look at what your friends are saying. You look at
Mhm.
reviews. You talk to someone. So we as customers are becoming more and more aware. And we have many
Yeah.
ways of knowing the truth
Mhm.
from the story,
Yeah.
And what we try to do is when we tell stories, we make sure that it's the truth
Absolutely.
and authentic and coming from real people and not a high production value, advertisement, which probably doesn't speak the actual authenticity of what it is to work in Amazon. I hope that helps. That's how we've been shaping our storytelling,
Yeah.
and we try to shine the light on different aspects. One is the kind of problems we are solving,
Mhm.
kind of people that you'll be working with,
Mhm.
what a day in the life of your work will look like,
Yeah.
how we make people feel seen, understood, included, and how everyone's voice matters. All of
Mhm.
these stories kind of go on to form the perception, hopefully, in the candidate's heart and mind of how it is to work at Amazon Prime Video or music or games. And then they make the right choice to join us or not.
Subhasis, can you please throw some light on your DE&I agenda as well?
Yeah, that's a great segue. As I mentioned in my previous point, it's all about, diversity is another word that you'll hear in every second sentence today, right?
Yeah.
Wherever you go in the talent space.
Mhm.
It's important to know what is that word mean for
Mhm.
your company, and we spend a lot of time thinking about diving deep into what that topic means.
Yeah.
And we try to continuously do that because that topic is changing, right? Back in the day, as you would have heard, diversity used to be equal to women, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And even now, for most part, that's the imagination one will have the moment you hear the word diversity, whether we
Absolutely.
like it or not.
Mhm.
So we've been trying to really dig into what does this really mean? To us,
Mhm.
diversity means difference of any kind,
Mhm.
and we believe that people are equal, people are unique,
Mhm.
people are different,
Yeah.
right? And to us, diversity means celebrating the uniqueness and the equality and the difference that people
Mhm.
bring to the
Yeah.
organization. So it's not so much then when you think of it that way, it's no longer about a gender or a community or a language or in any other dimension that you can think. It's all of it together, right?
Definitely.
So that's
Yeah.
one. When it comes to the D, equity and inclusion are even more complex topics, right?
Mhm.
Equity is how is my experience as an employee or a candidate
Mhm.
equitable to another employee or candidate experience? Not equal,
Yeah.
equitable.
Yeah.
Because if you say, hey, if two candidates are coming to interview, if I interview them both virtually, which means the experience is equal. Yes, it
Mhm.
is equal, but it's not equitable. Because if
Yeah.
one candidate is not comfortable for some reason, visually or listening
Definitely.
wise,
Yeah.
They're not comfortable. You could say, I interviewed both the candidates, gave them same experience,
Yeah.
but you didn't give them an equitable experience.
Absolutely.
Did they have a fair chance
Hmm.
at the interview equally? And that's
Hmm.
how we have to differentiate the difference between equality and equity. That makes
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, definitely.
And the last is inclusion. Inclusion
Hmm.
is how do you feel like you are being included in everything that your team is doing? One thing
Hmm.
is to say, hey, you come and join this meeting.
Hmm.
Another thing is to say, okay, you have something to say, and allowing yourself to share your true voice in the meeting.
Hmm.
Having you in the meeting is not inclusion. Having you share your thoughts and voice
Yeah.
in an authentic, in a fearless way is more inclusion than being there in the meeting. So these are some of those simple ways in which I will describe,
Yeah.
what DEI means for us, and I hope it helps your audience.
Absolutely. Subhasis, now that the Gen Z is entering the workforce and
Yes.
born into the digital era, they bring a different set of expectations with them. So, what's your take on this, and how do you think that their expectations differ from those of the previous generations?
Yeah, it's a great question. Honestly, it's a question that even I'm kind of seeking more answers to.
Mhm.
Being who I am, I'm definitely not Gen Z,
Yeah.
and it's a constant learning process. I have children who are, I don't know their call, they're 12 and 9. They're probably the
Mm.
next generation after Generation Z or Gen Z.
Yeah.
So to me, it's again goes back to my previous point of inclusion and equity, right?
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
could say that this is what matters to our employees, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Come from that assumption that this is what matters to our employees.
Yeah.
But when you say employees, we have some employees in our mind that may not be the Gen Z employees,
Yeah.
because what matters to them may not be what mattered to the folks from the previous generation, right?
Absolutely.
So it's important that we are plugged in, we are connecting, we are engaging with our candidates, with our employees on what matters to them.
Mm.
Maybe, going home at 5 matters to you, but going home at 5 may not be an exciting proposition or important for another team member. To
Yeah.
them, maybe they want to go on a 1 month sabbatical,
Mhm.
because they wanted to travel Latin America, right?
Mm.
And that's very unique. We could say that, well, we don't have that, we don't have that policy. Yes, you don't, but that's what a new generation of workforce are coming to us with. I'm not
Mm.
saying, I was just giving hypothetical examples. To my point is, the key is to constantly learn. As I was mentioning, learn and be curious is one of our principles, and it
Mhm.
applies in understanding the generational aspects of our candidates and our workforce as well.
Mm. Yeah. So my last question, Subhasi, is that you have been in this HR space for over 2 decades, and
Yes.
so can you please share some of the most prominent challenges that you face in this talent acquisition space, and what are your strategies to overcome them?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's the question that every of my peer and talent leaders and talent professionals are searching for.
Mm.
To me, I think the biggest challenge is as you may hear a lot of talent professionals or these words being used, hiring top talent. To
Yeah.
me, hiring the right talent is important,
Mhm.
and what that right talent is we have to know first what is right talent for us,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
And whether it was in 2005 or 2015 or 2025, you have to ask yourself what is the right talent for you, for your organization, for your culture,
Yeah.
and therefore, and how you design your hiring process to to surface that talent through the process is the key, right?
Mhm.
Because who is top talent for me may not be the top talent for somebody else, or
Yeah.
vice versa.
Mhm.
So it's important that we know what we want, who is the right talent for us. And throughout my entire career, we've been focusing on defining that, building processes, building systems, building methodologies training our hiring managers, our own leaders, making sure that we are all hiring through the same lens.
Yeah.
That way, you are able to consistently hire the right talent for you who can come and perform and have a really meaningful career with yourself.
Absolutely, these are important points to consider. And thank you so much, Subhasis, for sharing your valuable perspective with us today. It's been a pleasure having you on this show. And
Thank you.
for our viewers, let's continue to learn and grow together. And don't forget to tune in to the next episode of We Talk Talent series. Have a fantastic day ahead. Thank you so much.